So Tojo, this is the second session. Let's continue what we're trying to understand now how the XOR gate works. Okay, so we tried all this three possible combinations here, and we remaining for us the last one, last possibility. So can you follow up with me?
Okay.
Okay. So again, let's do that portion, A plus B, when we have both of them ones.
1.
Yes. Okay. So multiplied by
1, the inverse of 1 plus 1. 1 times 1, which is 0.
0. Yes. So the result equal what?
0.
0. Okay. So if you remember, to be able to remember what this gate do, just try to remember that. Okay.
Okay.
And
yes.
Actually, there is another way that I also use that, but I will not tell it to you now because I just don't want to. So just remember, this is a combination of OR multiplied by NAND, an OR gate multiplied by NAND. And if we look at the OR gate, you know, the OR gate actually output is, can you remember the output of an OR gate? 0, 1, 1,
yes.
1. Okay. What about the output of an AND gate?
It's
1,
1, 0, 0.
0,
0.
0. So I ended up telling you the way. Actually, never mind. I still don't prefer to explain it here because, yeah. So the NAND, actually the NAND is this way.
Oh yes, because it's the opposite of the AND gates,
yes,
not the OR gates.
So it's actually let me clear that. I just didn't want to tell you that this is just a notice from me trying to find things that make me remember that in the exam when I was young. So if we multiply the output here, because we know that the XOR is a combination of OR and NAND, right? Multiplied together,
yes.
right? So if we multiply those two gates, then we will find that only here we will get ones, right? Because both of them are 1. So that's how I also try to remember it. So of course, not everything is memorizing. You still need to understand, right? So that's how I try to train my mind to think about it. Okay. That's not mentioned in the books. That's and also that's what you should always try to find meaningful connections between things. And when you are able to do that, then this help your memorizing a lot. Okay. Okay. So this means that this makes sense to you, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So, and here, okay. Like I told you before, I think I told you that part, the dot represent an AND or a multiplication, and plus represent an or addition. And yeah, it's not a mathematical addition, but yes, it's an addition. And the bar is the inverse. It's like a not operation. Okay, that is clear to you, right? And again, the
yes.
Boolean algebra is not part of your exam. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so now if this guy is trying to give us an example by combining a lot of gates like this, of course, it's very hard for us then to find the output of this kind of output just simply in one shot from these three inputs. So to design, so did you see something like that before? so that I don't have to go to in details if you know it?
Yes.
You have seen
I
it.
did.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you know how it works?
You check, you go to each gate and then you check if it's true or false. If it fills the gate. And if it doesn't, it goes to the next part of the gates and it continues like that.
Okay, so that's clear to you, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it means that simply we don't need to wait. We don't need to go step by step and explain this, right?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's then move to. So tell me, please, do you still remember anything about the databases? Can you tell me what you remember about the databases that we talked about before, previously?
They like tables divided into records, fields, and columns.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be used for recording different people that's like students in a classroom or in a school.
Okay, okay. But do you know why we don't use text files, and why we took the step to create the databases and database management systems instead of just saving the information into text files? Do you know that? Tojo?
No, I don't know that. I don't
Okay.
know one.
So Tojo, okay. First, there is a big issues if we want to store information to a text file. One of the issues is the text file does not object anything that you put inside it. Okay. So for example, let me maybe this is not a proper example. Let me try to find. So let us look. This is possibly a record in the database. Okay, a record is just one row. This is just one row. Okay. So
Okay.
and this is another possibility of a second row, and this is a possibility of the third row. So if you look at the first row, you will find the name here is different from here and there. Okay, but so that is a real row of a database. But then if you try to insert a copy from the first row here on the fourth line, okay, if you do that on a text file, it will not object that. It have no understanding, and it have no checks, it have no validity. It doesn't do any valid checks on the information that you put when you store inside the text file. You can store
Okay.
anything, and you can retrieve anything. Okay.
Okay.
But that's why, okay, first of all, every information that we store on a database is actually validated and checked. Okay. If it goes against the validation and checks that database designer put for every information, so for every field you have a validation and check. Okay, so you have a data type. So anything is actually a name, a text. Okay,
Okay.
and that is a date and type. It's a type is date and time. Okay, here it's just a text. Here is an integer, just two integers. Okay, so if you put a text instead of an integer, a text file will accept that, but a database will not accept that. It doesn't make sense to them. So it means that before you enter every field, it will be checked for the type, and also it can have a further check. So if you say, I only have, so see, the first number here is actually for the word number. And the second here, is actually the bit number. So if you put when you are designing the database, you know that you only have 6 words from 1 to 6, and the bits you have from 1 to 100. Okay, so if you put in the word, if you try to insert in the word field a value that is lesser than 1 or bigger than 6, it will not accept it. Okay, it will reject it. It will give you an error. And the same will happen if you try to enter a bit number that is out of this this range that we're giving from 1 to 100. So it will not accept that. Does this make sense? Why we put an effort, and the companies put an effort at the start to create a database management system?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So first they want to keep the data in a proper integrity. They want to keep the data integrity always, all the time. Before inserting any data into the table is checked and validated. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to put a valid name. You can put na as a name and it will accept it. Okay, that's not the job of the database management system. Okay, that could be the error or a typo from the person keying in the data into the database. But again, na or na, okay, it's still a text, so it already passes the initial validation that this is a text, and the text have to conform to a certain length. So you cannot put so here, if he said the length here should not exceed maybe 100 character, and then you put 101 character, then it will not accept. Okay, but it doesn't check the meaning and that there is no typo. No, it doesn't check that. Does this make sense to you so far?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen a relational database management system before?
I haven't.
You didn't?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So when you was dealing with C#, you didn't deal with any databases so far?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you hear about? Okay. So actually, for our course, your exam will only talk about the Access database. You know, did you hear about the Access database before?
No, I haven't.
So that is a database that comes with Microsoft Word suite package. Okay. So, but typically this is not free. Okay. So I will leave that last testing on a later stage. Okay. But we are able actually to test our knowledge about the database somewhere else that is already free. So did you hear about something called MySQL before?
Yes, I've heard of that. I don't really know what it is. So.
Okay, so every company come with its relational database system, and some of them is an open source. It means that the code for that relational management database system is the code is available, is made available to everybody. Everybody can take a copy of it and change it, or it is a secret code that is kept for the company. Like for Microsoft Access, Microsoft keeps the code of the Access database management system secret for them. So it's not an open source, and everything. So that's why they are selling the Access package as part of sometimes it's part of Microsoft Office. Okay. MySQL is actually if I'm not mistaken, it was an open source. Then if I'm not mistaken, or Oracle bought it. So Oracle, it's a big database management system that can that is the most reliable database management system that companies, most big companies like Amazon and other big companies use. So what is the difference between a management system, a database management system, and another? It is how they can deal with huge amount of data records without falling down. So when you have 100 million or 1 billion record in a table, you want to you want to be sure that your data is safe. If your data, if your database management system that you are using is not strong enough, then it might fail, and this will result on all your data gone. Can you imagine if you have 1 million record gone? That's a huge amount of information that you cannot really afford to lose. Okay, that could be the sales of the company in the last 10 years. So you use this sales information to analyze what is the company performance in the last 10 years, and then from that information there is certain branches of the computer science that study based on that history what will be the future and what we should do to improve that future. That's called data analysis. And later there is also something called data science, when they use AI to predict the future performance. So data in databases is very important. So when a company have 100 million record in a database, they cannot trust access. That's too much. That's too small to how to say, to manage that amount of information reliably and fast enough. Okay, MySQL is okay. It's a kind of mid-range. Okay, but the most trusted one, as I told you, the most trusted and fast and most reliable one that doesn't fall down, and if it falls down, they are able to bring it back and without losing the information or the data inside, is Oracle. Okay.
Okay.
Oracle, of course I cannot talk about Oracle. That will be kind of bad. But you can read about Oracle. Somehow they are not very straightforward. But anyhow, but since this is going to be public, so let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. So let me share. Yeah, I actually, so I have a website. I think you already look at the blog that I always share the files and the sessions there. So that behind that blog, there is actually a database that is recording everything happening on the website. Not everything, but most of the things. Okay. So I put a MySQL database behind the scene. You cannot see it, but I will share it with you. I will share what's happening behind. So some part of it, I will only share the part that you need to know according to the course. Okay, so let us have a look, since we already talked about that here. Okay. Okay. So, okay, every database, every table, we said a database can contain one table or multiple tables. Okay, and so we are able, and previously they create a number of tables that they are not related to each other, but the new types of tables, that is not new, because that was invented like more than 20 years ago, more than 20 years. So if they have a few tables like that, they actually can have relation between tables. So I think maybe this is slightly beyond what we are going to teach you here, but yeah, so I think I don't want to waste time in something that is not related to your class. So I would say just simple. There is relations between tables when they are storing the information inside the table. they don't want to store it in a way that wastes the space of the table. That's why if they have information that is related, then they will create different tables and start to link a table to another. That's why they call it relational databases. Okay, that is,
Yeah.
I will not go beyond that because that is outside the scope. Okay, and we need to focus because of the time. So again, no, let me still, this need to continue. So a primary key is a table, is a key, is a field here. Okay, we said a field is a column. I know, actually a field is only just this is a field. Okay, and this is a row, and this is a column. Okay, so a primary key will be in a column. So if we say that this column is a primary key, so all the keys here, all the entries here, all the fields here will be primary keys. So for every row we need a primary key. Why? We need a way to identify and recognize that key uniquely from other rows. So if we want that specific row, we need to recognize it with a certain combination of, sometimes we use numbers alone, sometimes we use a combination of a number and a character. Okay, so let's have a look. Does this so far make sense to you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me share, let me try to see here if I'm able to share how a real database looks like. Yeah. So actually, see, that is a MySQL database. Okay, the tables. So the list of tables is here. This is the list of tables. Magnify. So this is the names of the tables, and this is the name of the database. It is a strange name, but it's related to my hosting. So that's the name. So that is the database name, and inside that database there is many tables. Sorry. Sorry. That's not 100% correct. Sorry. Actually, sorry. Let me see. Where is it? I need to correct that. So that is a common name, but this is a common name for all the database. So each one of those is actually a database. Each one of those is a separate database. They are not all one. They are not all under one, but they just share a common name. That's why they group them like that. So let me open one of them. So I will open that. That alone is a database. So LinkedIn underscore CI underscore website TV is actually a database in itself, and that database contain all these tables. Can you see all the tables there? There is a lot of tables here. So I will go here in a visit. That's actually a table. It's still loading and opening. So this table have how many records? It have 7,990 record. So it have 7,990 rows. Okay. Does this make sense to you so far?
Yes.
Okay. So if I want to know how many columns that I have, so I can count here how many columns. You see here. Let me see. Okay. So I have from 1. That is a primary key that I wanted to share with you, and we have from 1 until 17. So that is the number of columns I have. Each one of those represent a field.
Okay.
Okay. And okay, let me go to the primary key and then we can have a look fastly about the data. So here, okay, now we talk about the primary key. So you see, do you see the sign that appears, primary?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a unique number. Okay, this number is unique for every row, and it will keep incrementing. And I need to give it enough size so it can accommodate as the table grows. The database management system here is which is MySQL, is the one responsible to assign and increment that number for me. So you see here, it's put auto increment. So every time I insert a new row inside the table, so what is the table name actually? This is a table visits. Can you see it here? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So every time I insert a row into the table, this is giving is incremented and giving a unique number. I don't have to interfere with that. That's done automatically by the database management system. So that's why that's a difference now. If you think if I have a text file, that is not possible. It's not possible to have something that increment the unique primary key here. And if you try to insert a number here in the ID in the primary key that is already repeated or a duplicate, it will not allow you. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, yeah, so I want you to have a look at the primary key. So that is a primary key that we're having. So it doesn't need. I mean, don't be confused if you see that it doesn't start with 1, because if there is if we delete a column, it will. I mean, if we delete a row, okay, it will not use the number that was of the deleted row again. It will just keep incrementing. Okay, that's why you cannot see the numbers here starting from 1. That's why you see this kind of numbers. But if you compare, what is important to us, if we compare that number to that one, we will find it's unique and it's incrementing. So you see here 717, it's ending with 717. Here 718, 719, 720. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so not necessary that all the time that we give a real number or an integer here. We can use a combination of characters and integers. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So let me. We still need to come back again, but let me explain a few concepts first before we come here. Can you see my screen now? Stop sharing here. So did you hear about SQL before?
I've also heard of this, but I don't know what it is.
You don't know it, or you know it?
I don't.
Okay, perfect. So okay, SQL is a structured query language that they built it to be able to get information out of a database. So if we are seeking to get information out of a text file, we don't need that SQL language. Okay, so that SQL is actually kind of common between many database management systems. So in Access, which is related to Microsoft, they use SQL. In Oracle, which is belong to the Oracle company, also they use SQL, but they also add another thing beside. So we have to, wow, we have to stop now, okay? And we open again. Okay?